Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story comes from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit from a throwaway account, and it said, am I the arsehole for confronting my fiance after I was turned away from the jewelry store for having a fake ring when trying to have it sized? My fiance proposed on Christmas, and everything was perfect. The ring was a bit too big though, and I've just hit my goal weight. I was losing weight, so I figured I'd have it sized correctly. I've been holding off because I wanted to make sure I was the correct size after losing the weight. The ring box says Tiffany & Co, and I was literally over the moon with it. I told him he shouldn't have spent this much on me, but he said he wanted to get me the blue box. I go into Tiffany's to have it sized because my friend told me I should only have them work on my ring. They take the ring and ask for my fiance's info to look up in their system. They can't find it and she takes the ring in the back. The manager comes back a little while after and says that this isn't a Tiffany & Co ring and shows me there's no engraving inside. I go home and my first thought is that he probably bought it pre-loved and he got duped. He comes home from work and I ask him where he got the ring from. He said Tiffany & Co at location's name. I flat out asked him if he got it used online and it was okay if he did. He flipped out and said no, it's new from the store. I fessed up and told him what happened with the sizing. He flipped out and said that I was checking up on him and snooping for the price, etc. I was firm and said no, I just wanted it resized, and then he told me it's not from their company. He said that they're wrong, and he got it there. He told me that I should have consulted him, and he would have had it sized for me, and that it feels like I'm going behind his back. I'm confused by this because I thought it was a simple task that I didn't need him for. Anyway, he won't really talk about where he got the ring, and is only saying that he will size it and took the ring. Now, it is genuinely worrying behavior right from the fiance because the obvious bit is that the ring is fake. It's not debatable. Tiffany's literally confirmed it, right? There's no engraving. It's not on their system. And he didn't turn around and was like, oh my God, I got scammed or something like that. He turned it around on OP for her discovering it, accusing her of snooping for wanting to have a ring sized properly. Let's face it, he knew it was fake and is now trying to damage control basically, right? And I always think about like the process in this situation. You know, there was several steps along the way he could have turned around and thought this is a bad idea. When he was buying the Tiffany box to put this ring in, to when he was actually buying the fake ring, and at any point before actually giving her the ring. You know, it's concerning, isn't it? Because it's not about the ring, it's just about the willingness of him to lie to her face about something that is significant and then trying to deflect when caught. That's the worrying bit. A commenter simply comes in and says, not the arsehole, he lied and is trying to cover his own ass. OP says, but he legit gave it to me in a Tiffany box. I don't get it. He could have just given it to me in a different box and I would have gone wherever to get it sized. Commenter says, maybe it's not a real diamond. Like maybe it's a $50 ring he got online. He is being super shady. Like, I would use this as an opportunity to evaluate. How is he with money generally? Has he ever lied about financial stuff before? And this counts. Does he tend to spend big on himself and never on you? Just things to evaluate to see how this fits into his pattern. Opie says he makes $75K a year and we both split all the bills. We definitely don't hurt for money at all. We own our own home. I wouldn't say he's irresponsible about money at all, honestly. It looks like a diamond. It doesn't say anything inside the band though. Commenter says, doesn't real rings have some sort of stamp like 14K or 18K? OP, are you sure it's a real ring at all? Not that it matters, but he should have been upfront with you from the start. OP says it didn't have any stamp at all. Commenter says, not the arsehole. Tiffany is famous for its trademark blue color. I've never seen a Tiffany box that wasn't blue for an engagement ring. If it's not in a Tiffany blue box, it ain't Tiffany's. I don't know what kind of scam he is pulling, but you accidentally called his bluff. You should look seriously at this incident. Marriage does not change things for the better. It amplifies what you already have, the good and the bad. OP says it came in the blue box, but inside was a black velvet box that held the ring. I'm planning on bringing it back up tomorrow. I want us both to cool off first and have level heads. Commodore says, not the arsehole, and put the wedding plans on hold until he comes clean. It's one thing to screw up and accidentally buy a fake. It's another thing for him to lie about where he got it from when directly asked. Double down on the lie when you give him evidence of his lie. Gaslight you about things you know to be true. Jump to accusing you of things out of the blue and tell you that you need his permission to size your ring. At least you can call off the engagement. You can give back the ring without worrying about losing anything of value. Opie then comes in and gives some additional information regarding the fiance's temper and says, thanks for your response. I'm going to give it a cool down and ask him tomorrow in a calm way. There's an elephant in the room now and I hate it. This should be a happy time for us. I don't want him to leave. He's been a good guy to me. He has a little temper sometimes, but that's about it. Opie also says sometimes over stupid stuff like not finding his misplaced keys, other times over serious issues with his parents, which he fights with often. We don't really fight all that often, and if he does get really mad, he apologizes after his cool down. He works 45 to 50 hours a week sometimes. He's very much into his job and it's high stress. Someone asked, does he get physically violent? Opie says no, not with me. One time he put his fist through some drywall. That was a while ago. He went to therapy for a little while his job covered the costs. We do cool off periods like we're doing tonight. If we argue or get mad, we step away and not bring it up again until the next day. So like, if a fight got heated, we just stop and drop it until we can handle it better calmly. But Opie adds the first update and says, I know this is wrong, but I checked this tablet this morning when he went to work to see if I can find any information. His Amazon was still logged in and I found my ring on there. Actually, 2 of them. The first one bought December 2nd and then another one a size smaller last night. I'm beyond words. Not that it's not a Tiffany's ring, but that he was playing me with a $6 ring. After he purchased a mini bar and an OLED TV for himself on Black Friday. I can't believe I went into Tiffany's with a $5 ripoff. I'm mortified. Opie comes in with another update and says, so I text him the link while he's at work. He called me like 2 seconds later and asked me what's going on. I said I went on his iPad because I had to use it, and he left the browser on this. Little lie on my part. I told him I don't care about the ring, but devastated at the lies. I told him if he doesn't tell me the truth right now and why he did that, I'm going to a hotel and he won't see me when he gets home. He started crying, saying that he felt like he needed to get me the best, but he couldn't afford it. I said, but you could afford the $3K on your stuff. He said the smallest Tiffany ring is at least $5K, which I doubt is true. I'm sure there's cheaper, but whatever. And that he just wanted to get me a stand-in until he saved up. I told him I didn't even need the Tiffany ring, that he could have bought a $200 14K gold band at Macy's. Instead, he spent money on a box and 2 fake rings. He then confessed and said that he got the box from his friend that proposed with a Tiffany ring years ago, and the wife doesn't need the boxes. I hung up. I texted him I need some space and time, and I'm going to stay at a hotel to just chill for a day. So we do have a final update shortly, but of course, people were curious and asking questions. One said, you know what, friend? If she kept the box this long, she might have actually have wanted it. Friend may have given it without her permission. Opie said, I already covered it. I went by their house before I went to the hotel and she was home. Told her what happened and she apologized and had no idea. Oof. Another commenter says he bought a $6 ring. Twice. He's definitely going to lie about this again. And punching holes in walls should have definitely been a red flag in the beginning. You should completely reevaluate this relationship and hopefully you don't stay in it because you've invested years in this. Don't settle. I saw you said you live 4 hours from family. Are you able to go to a hotel or co-worker's house for the time being? Opie says, yeah, I'm getting a hotel room today, so I'm not here when he gets home. I don't want to deal with his anger. Commenter replies saying his anger. He should be checking into a hotel to avoid your anger. Commenter says, a fucking $6 ring? I'm not a snob, but holy shit, OP, if he didn't even want to spring for the $15 model. All jokes aside, this is absolutely horrible. You're definitely not the arsehole, and I would seriously reconsider your relationship. Huge red flags, especially his reaction. Nothing at all wrong with a $6 ring, but to try and pass it off as a Tiffany & Co. requires a special level of douchebaggery. Opie says, the thing is though, he has money to spend thousands on himself. He bought himself a bunch of shit for Christmas. I understand a $6 ring if you don't have any dispensable income, but he couldn't even afford a $200 gold band. That will last my lifetime. I didn't need the Tiffany ring, but I was happy when I saw it because I guess for once, I thought he went all out for me. I don't know. And another commenter says, wow, you spent less on your ring than the cost of a cheeseburger. So OP does come in with their final update and says, first of all, thanks to everyone who commented on my original post and for the help. I had an overwhelming amount of messages that I can't reply to at the moment, but I appreciate everyone caring enough that they wanted an update. I'm still staying in the hotel. I don't have any close friends or family nearby, and I've met with a lawyer to help me sell my half of the house. He decided the relationship isn't salvageable because I aired our dirty laundry on the internet and it got popular with the media. I'll be leaving my job in a week to move back home with my family. Unfortunately, this has put me in a financial bind, but it's better than staying with my ex at this point. I'm glad he ended it because maybe I was too much of a coward too. The ring was just a symptom of the problem. I guess you don't want to financially commit to an expensive ring when you know in your heart that the person doesn't mean all that much to you. And OP did originally share a link to the actual ring, which was, of course, on Amazon. Here's a picture of it. And in the end, I'm glad that she was able to get away from him. I mean, there was several red flags in the post, not just about the ring, right? But the cheeky so-and-so to break up with her. Bloody hell. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from Lazy Excuse from the What Do I Do subreddit, and it was titled, Girlfriend Wants Another Phone for Personal Use for her birthday. Me, 26 male, and my girlfriend, 25 female, have been together for 10 months. She already has a phone that works fine. I helped pay for it. Recently, she told me she wants a second phone just for personal use and thinks I should buy it for her as an upcoming birthday gift. I asked what she means by personal use and she got vague. She said it's just not something she wants on her main phone. She also said it's about privacy and that I should trust her. I told her I wasn't comfortable paying for another phone without a clear reason. She got upset and said I was being controlling and turning money into a power thing. That wasn't my intention. I just didn't want to feel like I'm being used or ignoring my gut. I don't know what I should do now. Please give me suggestions. Edited to add, as far as I know, she hasn't used any drugs or shown any interest in buying or selling them. Now, I've heard of people having two phones before, like especially work separation and stuff like that, maybe social media content creation. You want separate devices for those things. But the fact that she's being, secretive about it and accusing you of being controlling about it rather than just saying, this phone's for work or this phone's for social media, something along those lines, she went straight for the controlling. It's red flags, right? And I think it'd make most people go like, okay, what the fuck does she want this phone for? She's just not giving a straight answer and immediately deflecting. It's worrying. Swag Host says 2 phones plus sketchy vagueness equals relationship kaput. When she oddly volunteers, it's not about cheating and tells you you're being controlling. It's about cheating. Opie says, I think I'm dating the wrong person. I was so desperate to not be single. I'm sorry. Ugh. This is so sad. I ignored the red flags. Prudent Cheesecake says, it sounds like she's doing sex work on the low. Sorry if you don't says absolutely where my head went as well. Electric Kitty Cat says, totally agree. My first thought was she wanted to do OnlyFans or sex work under a fake name using a phone that can't be traced back to her. Random says gaslighting, projection, cheating, and financial abuse all in one question. Man, she put the nail in the relationship's coffin right there. Sorry you had to find out this way. Be glad it's only 10 months in, not 10 years. So OP did come in with an update and said, hey guys, today's been a long day. I barely slept last night thinking of how stupid I was ignoring the red flags and trusting her words this whole time. I kept replaying everything in my head and reading through your comments. The more I thought about it, the more I realized if I didn't end it now, I just talked myself into staying and slowly let this whole dynamic get worse. I could already feel myself starting to rationalize it. I didn't like that. So I got up early, made a couple of strong cups of coffee, and called her since we don't live together. I asked if she wanted to meet at a local park after I got off work. It's a busy park, lots of people around. She agreed right away. It wasn't unusual for us to meet there, especially since it's been weirdly warm for February. I worked from home today, and it was a blur. I did the bare minimum, couldn't focus. As soon as I was done, I called her to confirm, and within about 30 minutes, we were there. At first, I kept it light. We walked a bit, I joked around, got her laughing, and eventually we sat down on a bench and told her we needed to talk. I explained how the whole second phone thing made me feel manipulated. I told her I already felt pressured helping pay for the first phone, and now being expected to buy another one for personal use with no clear explanation didn't sit right with me. She was quiet for a minute. Then she said it was a big misunderstanding and that she was joking about the second phone. That didn't make sense to me. So I asked her why she doubled down about privacy, trust, and accused me of using money as power if it was just a joke. She couldn't really answer that. It was just more vague stuff. That was kind of it for me. I told her I'd had enough and that I wanted to break up. She tried to kiss me after I said it, like that would smooth it over. I stepped back. I wasn't going to let it turn into some emotional back and forth. I said I was done and started walking to my car. She walked off towards hers. I got in mine and left. It sucked. I'm not going to pretend it didn't, but honestly, as soon as I drove away, I felt this weird mix of sadness and relief. I don't want to be in a relationship where my gut is constantly telling me something's off and I'm being told I'm controlling for asking basic questions. Anyway, that's the update. Appreciate the straight talk from you guys. Sometimes you need outside perspective to see what you're ignoring. Also, I just wanted to clarify that we only had each other's phone and social media passwords because she strongly wanted it and offered me hers to convince me. I don't even know if the passwords were real because I had never once snooped on her. I changed my passwords this morning before work, so I'm not worried about that. Escape says, man, it still eats at me wondering what the hell she wanted the phone for. Anyways, glad it worked out for you. James says a second Pokemon Go account so she can send gifts back and forth easier. Lil Sparrow says it sounds like you handled this extremely well. I know I'd have struggled, especially if I loved the person. So I really admire that you just went and did it after getting outside perspective. Open communication is the best kind of trust in my opinion, and she wasn't doing that at all. You'll continue to feel happier after this adjustment period for sure. Opie says, I will definitely continue to ground myself and stay positive for the future. What is something that helped you feel happier? Lil Sparrow replies saying, well, it's different for everyone, depending on what kind of happiness you're looking for. Hobbies, self-care, it could be any number of things, so it's a bit hard to give an answer when it's such an open-ended question. I mean, for me, I'm going through quite a hard time in my life right now for various reasons. I'm autistic as well, so I don't fare very well with change. So for me, being able to enjoy my favorite shows or hobbies that keep me grounded makes it a bit easier to get through each day. I lost a 5-year relationship not long before Christmas. So rather than looking for a new relationship, I think it's important to focus on yourself, what support you have in life, like trusted friends or family. I met a friend here on Reddit actually, and we speak often, so that's been helpful too. Depends on what you're going through and what kind of person you are. Opie replies saying, I definitely should have been more specific, lol. For me, I like to cook, play chess, watch comedy movies, and hang out with my friends. It really makes me thankful and grateful there are many people in my life that love and support me. Just curious, what are your hobbies? I'm always looking to add and experiment new things. And that conversation kind of tailed off right there. In the update, Opie was talking about, her wanting his passwords or whatever. And it seemed more one-sided that she wanted his because he never checked hers, which is usually a sign when in these stories that we see of projection, she's trying to check on him and what he's up to, is he cheating, etc. And she's wanting a second phone at the same time. Yeah, it's not good, is it? Yeah, I don't blame OP for breaking up in that moment at all because she tried playing it down that it was just a joke, but then, with all the controlling language that she was using around it, she couldn't make an excuse for that. So, she was serious about the phone, right? But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, And let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from Sleeping Beauty 94 from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit. And it says, am I the arsehole here for wanting to keep my wedding after my grandmother passes? And there was a bit of context in another story which came before that one actually, and the title of that one was My Mum is Trying to Sabotage My Wedding. And it said, hi friends, my mum had always controlled every little detail of my life. I grew up to be a mum pleaser. I'd change my plans because of her guilt tripping. I'd cancel outings with my friends to make her happy. Making her happy was my measure stick to right and wrong. When I was 23, she guilt-tripped me into dating and getting engaged to a guy she liked for me. I was brave enough to break off the engagement 2 months later after a very traumatizing, emotionally exhausting relationship. Now, I turned 30 and I found a decent person. We dated for 2 years and now we're getting married. Initially, we decided to elope and set plans to do that. Mind you, in my culture, the groom pays for the wedding, so my mum isn't even helping financially. She flipped out when I told her we booked a flight and we're doing a semi-elopement in a beautiful destination. My friend and I were going to cover her and her dad's travel costs, and my brother, sister and siblings were coming too. She stopped talking to me for 2 weeks and then she sent messages through my sister that she wasn't happy with me and I was disappointing her. She used love and our special bond to guilt trip me into changing my plans. Understandably, my fiance was very upset, but at the end, he agreed to do whatever makes me happy. He lost money on the booking and he's spending a ton of money on the celebration here. One time, she invited us over for lunch. My fiance wants to keep the wedding to our friends and close ones only. She started yelling at him, speaking condescendingly and saying mean stuff when he said we don't want to invite the son of her friend. She was in denial that we're not inviting the son of a close friend of hers and his wife. I told her I don't know the son and wife. I only saw them once 10 years ago. She said this family is close to us and has been through our good days and bad days. I said I don't care, and she started giving me the silent treatment again. This drove a wedge between my fiance and I, and we got to the point of breaking up because, very understandably, he's worried my mum would be influencing our decisions together and that he's marrying her, not me. After changing the plans to host a wedding reception in town, my fiance and I started looking together at vendors and visiting venues. We found the venue that we both loved and booked it. Oh, it drove her insane. How dare we have not consulted her or asked her opinion? She doesn't talk to me nor my husband. When we visit, she pretends she's on her phone. She doesn't even say hi to me. Yesterday, she sent me a voice note after voice note saying how horrible and disappointing I was because my fiance and I visited a vendor and didn't offer to take her along with us. I said, okay. I tried to involve her in some things. Today I went and asked her if she wants to come with me to my hair and makeup appointment. She said she wants nothing to do with me and she's coming as a guest. My heart is broken. She's not letting me be happy. I'm only happy when I'm away from her. I'm living in my bridal era with a lot of exciting life happening for me. I'm so tired of her. Am I really being a horrible daughter? So this post was originally posted, then deleted before the Am I the Arsehole post come in, which we're going to read that one straight away. I imagine you already know what I'm going to say about this story, but this one said, am I the arsehole for wanting to keep my wedding after my grandmother passes? And it said, I'm a 32 female who waited so long for a big day. Before I met my fiance, I was single for many years. I waited for everything to be just perfect. My maternal grandmother passed away today, and my wedding is in 12 days. She was very sick for many years, and this was going to happen at some point. She lived a very long and very full life. My mother automatically decided my wedding is cancelled. My fiance is the one who's paying for everything, not my family, and he'd lose a year worth of savings on non-refundable deposits. We planned and dreamed of this day for so long. If we cancel now, we can't have another wedding in many years. We are both resident doctors. We're basically going to be broke for a long time. I also waited 8 months to have a week of vacation so I can get married. It's so difficult to get another time off. I'm so angry and frustrated. In the beginning, my dad supported my decision, but now he's blaming me. I talked with my fiance and decided to keep the wedding unchanged. We deserve to be happy, both he and I. I've had so many tough years, and life threw a curveball after curveball in our way. This is our only chance to celebrate ourselves. Am I an arsehole if I keep the wedding now? My dad said he and mum won't attend, and it breaks my heart. And we'll cover a couple of the comments in a second from the Am I the Arsehole section of the post. They might not have seen the previous post that we read. I always take that into consideration as I'm reading them out. But for me, holy shit. I got to say, I'm already feeling quite sorry for the fiance in this situation. You know, this poor bloke's already lost money, cancelled the elopement, and seems to be bending over backwards to accommodate something that he didn't want. And he's already hugely concerned about the dynamic that's going on, to the point that he's already nearly walked away. And now here they are as resident doctors who scraped together some savings, and his future mother-in-law is threatening to just basically ruin the whole thing over a power play. And he's watching his fiance at the same time, you know, get emotionally manipulated by the mother-in-law at the cost to him as well. And I think OP, which I know this is always easy for me to say, I know it's incredibly difficult when you've been normalized into this behavior for so long. I know some people always say, yeah, I could do it easily just like that, but other people, it is more difficult. But it needs to happen because it's not about the wedding anymore. It's about whether OP is actually going to break free, or if every life decision they make, like we see in all these stories, kids, houses, holidays, medical choices, whatever it may be, is going to involve mother-in-law, who's going to continue to have these meltdowns until she gets her way. Bloody hell, I went off there, didn't I? But commenter says, not the arsehole. Contact all your vendors and set passwords with them so your mum can't make alterations to your reservations. If asked by family, let them know that your grandma will be missed, but she has a long life and wouldn't want you to cancel your wedding. Adorable says, OP needs to read this given she posted and deleted a few months ago about her mother trying to ruin her wedding. Danky says, not the arsehole. It's sad about your grandmother, but not a surprise. Maybe say something in her honor or remember her in some way at your ceremony, but don't let it ruin your big day. Congratulations. Bonus Mum says we actually had an in memoriam poster made with pics of all of our grandparents that we had on an easel next to the cake table. We also mentioned them before the first dance. This is pretty common. OP did come in 18 days later and said, hello everyone, this is the link to the original post. TLDR, my maternal grandmother passed at age 88 and my mother wanted my wedding to be cancelled, or she and dad weren't going to attend. Sounds like bliss, doesn't it? OP continued, the wedding happened and we had so much fun. My oldest uncle, someone who's very respected in their family, sat down with mum and talked to her. She ended up coming and dad did too. Dad walked me down the aisle. Now the biggest plot twist for me was finding out who was the mind behind the idea of cancelling the wedding. It turns out my only aunt, who always claimed to be on my side and my close friend, was the one who kept whispering in mum's ears. She started nagging her at the moment my grandma got ill, even before she deteriorated and went into a coma. She told her their brothers would cut connections with her if she kept their daughter's wedding going while their mum was sick. My uncle was livid and gave my aunt a big piece of his mind, and I loved it. Alrighty, thank you for all the support. Now, I'm glad that the wedding did go well, but I gotta say, the update still made me feel like this ain't good. OP started that first part of the post. My mum has always controlled every little detail of my life, and I grew up to be a mum pleaser. So the whole thing with the aunt coming in, you know, the aunt didn't create this behavior. It just gave mum some sort of permission to do what she already wanted to do. We already know the history of the mum's controlling behavior, the guilt tripping her into an engagement with someone mum chose, the silent treatments, the tantrums, the trying to dictate the guest list, refusing to be involved unless she has total control. It's all wild ass behavior that needs to be cut out for herself and for her fiance or husband now. It just feels like OP's got a long road ahead with setting some kind of boundaries with mum or just cutting her off at this point, because that is wild. And of course, mum did still turn up to the wedding because she was always going to. She was just trying her manipulative ways to get what she wants once again. So mum's learned that she can throw massive tantrums. She can threaten to boycott whatever she wants and make everyone around her miserable, but still get to come to the wedding and play happy families. I mean, what is the lesson there? Bloody hell. I hope one day Opie does take a step back and just look at her mum's behavior and realize that none of that is acceptable. Once again, for her and her husband's sake, because he's going to suffer from this as well. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly, it's absolutely amazing. And hopefully I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go.